From Super League to Olympic distance to age group world records to Kona. Go longer with the right fuel at the right time with S-Fuels.
Aloha in our day, spread a little aloha around the world, and breakfast with Bob.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Welcome everybody back to Breakfast with Bob, our not quite Kona edition. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by Master Spas, S-Fuels Go Longer, Hoka Let's Fly, Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot, the original triathlon brand, Premium Plus Sports, Quintana Roo, Mission Pacific Hotel in beautiful Oceanside, and our Challenge Athletes Foundation. Heading into our 30th year, we've raised $147 million, sent out over 40,000 grants to keep challenged athletes in the game of life through sport. Our next guest, her name is Gina Sereno, 23 starts on the World Triathlon Series, 4 podiums, 2 wins. How are you, Gina?
I'm good. How are you doing?
A pleasure to meet you. So you're heading off to Montreal to do arena games.
Yeah. I think we leave in 2 weeks. So just getting ready for that, and then the race season really gets kicked off after that one. So a lot of stuff to look forward to.
Have you done arena games before?
I did it last year for the first time in Munich.
What'd you think?
It's really just like nothing else I've ever done. It's extremely hard. Like the pain faces you see when you're watching the athletes, like you can't make that up. It's unlike any other event, I think.
It's brutal. It is really brutal. And have you done a Super League as well?
I did one Super League race. I did the one in Malibu this year.
Oh yeah. That was really fun. You had surf actually played a role in that one.
Yeah, the surf was big.
So coming from mechanical engineering background at Michigan, talk a little bit about just transition from running to running the triathlon.
So I got my start in triathlon right after I graduated school. I was involved in the collegiate recruitment program through USA Triathlon.
Yeah.
So that really opened a bunch of doors for me and got me started. I did, what was it, age group national championships. That was one of my first races. And then I think I did Triton Man and then Claremont the next year. So it was going from a collegiate running background to triathlon. There's so many new things you're learning, I think, as a young athlete. There's just so much more time involved with training and just all these new things you have to think about in races. So it's a pretty big jump, but obviously a lot of other people have made that same jump. So
yeah, well, and what's fascinating about it is it's a lot of schlepping, where in the past you're just like, okay, I got my running shoes, I'm good to go. Now it's like, where's my bike? Where's my wetsuit? You get a lot more stuff to haul wherever you go.
Yeah, exactly. The life of a professional runner seems so easy compared to
oh my God, it's simple, right? It's way easier. Now, was that something you were contemplating out of college, being a professional runner?
I think I would have loved it if I would have been good enough and if I would have had those opportunities. But I had a unfortunate injury my 5th year. I probably was right on the edge of not really being there, not quite at that level. So I think, I'm happy with how things worked out.
What was your injury?
I got a stress fracture in my 4th metatarsal.
Very common. I see so many people in college. At Chelsea, what did she tell me? She had 4, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I had 2 in this, basically the 3rd and the 4th, 4 years apart. It was crazy. Both of mine, they weren't long lead up. It was one week I was fine. And then the next week I did a race, and I think I essentially like broke it during the race. It was a clear fracture. You could see it in an x-ray. I didn't even have to get an MRI. So yeah.
Oh, that is awful. And so mechanical engineering, I was reading the one article where it was going through your day. I think you were a junior and
Oh
weightlifting
God.
from 7 to 8, and a bike from home to the ice arena for breakfast and wind tunnel and all sorts of really interesting stuff. So was the plan graduating college and then going right into working as a mechanical engineer?
Yeah, I think I worked really hard in college to get my degree. Like it was not easy
No.
running and yeah, taking classes on North Campus, which is Michigan's engineering school. And so yeah, I really wanted to use like everything I learned in college and yeah, essentially yeah, try to leverage my degree to the best of my ability.
And so coming out of college, you're going to start a real job, I'm assuming, or start looking for a real job. Were you approached by by USA Triathlon to get into that program because did you have a swim background as well?
Not really. I mean, I swam a little bit, I think, over the summers. So I think somewhere someone read that I had a multi-sport background, which is kind of true. Like my family is athletic. I grew up biking with my parents and my brother a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have somewhat of a multi-sport background, but I wasn't per se a great swimmer ever.
Right. So were they when they approached you about becoming part of the program, was it like, oh, you know what? I would like to continue my athletic career. I can you're always going to be a mechanical engineer. You can do that whenever the hell you want. So was that part of the thinking that, hey, you know what? Why not take a shot at this?
Yeah, well, so I actually do work full time. I am an engineer. I work at the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory in addition to doing triathlon.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, it was kind of like, oh, I want to still be like competitive. I have a lot of like natural drive, I think, to want to continue to do races and
Yeah.
see, okay, can I be better? Can I be better? But yeah, I also really like having like a balanced lifestyle. So I didn't want to like give up the opportunity to work.
Work for NASA? Yeah, who's giving that up? Nobody's giving that up. That is pretty cool. And now, so are you able to work? Are you based in Colorado for NASA?
Yeah, so I've been in the Los Angeles area and Pasadena for like the first 4 years after graduating school. So working there, and then yeah, I just got a full-time remote status like approved, so that allowed me to move to the Boulder area and continue working remotely on my same job, doing everything that I've been doing for the past 4 years, but kind of in a better training environment. There's obviously a ton of people in Boulder.
Yeah, now, who are you coached by?
Do you know Barb Lindquist?
Do I know Barb Lindquist? So Barb created the program, the developmental program,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
actually, so I represent Katie Zafaris, who was identified out of Syracuse, and she was a steeplechaser, and Barb identified her, and she identified obviously Gwen in 2010 when Gwen was graduating from Wisconsin with a swim and run background. And was like you, she had gotten her CPA and was ready to start her real job when Barb came to her and said, how about triathlon? So yeah, and one of my buddies, Tom Schuler, was actually training her on the bike and was like, Gwen was falling over at stoplights. She couldn't clip in at all. It was like they had to take her swim and run background and create the whole cycling part. But obviously by 2012, she made the Olympic team. This year, you went second at Tri Club Vina del Mar, and then fourth in the mixed relay at Montevideo, and then 16th individual race. How have you seen your career progressing? How do you see yourself improving?
Yeah, I think like if you look at a lot of my early results, it's like 30th place, 40th place, like, and then 20th, and then like 15th, and then like really this year I started getting a couple good results. So I feel like I'm just starting to scratch the surface of what I think I'm capable of. But yeah, for someone like me, like I just never had a strong swim background. So there's like a lot of time involved in just like improving my swim.
Well, and who's better than Barb Lindquist in terms of helping you with your swim?
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
only the best ever. Watching her make the Olympic team in 2004 when we were in Hawaii, she is in Honolulu where she qualified for her the Olympic team. That was pretty darn cool. She's very special. I'm glad that you're coached by her. That says there'll be great things in the future. What do you see down? Is the goal more 2028, 2024? What in terms of the Olympics?
I think like I always just want to see what I can do. Like, you know, it's hard for me to set really concrete goals when like there are just so many question marks about like, oh, like, can I even get into races? Are these opportunities even going to be available? So it's
hard.
kind of just like, from my perspective, taking advantage of the opportunities that I am given and trying to make the most out of them.
Sure.
But yeah.
Being in Colorado, like you said, you've probably seen some major gains just being able to train on a consistent basis with. Are you training with a group? Are you training by yourself? What are you doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of individuals out here who kind of group together for certain sessions in the week. And so that provides like a really good opportunity to like, okay, for this really hard swim, I'm going to meet up with, 10 other people who are way faster than me in the water. And I'm going to get my butt kicked, but hopefully I'm getting a little bit faster each time. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities for group meetups, but it's not like such a structured environment where every day I have to be doing something at a certain time. And I'm a lot like, I have a lot more flexibility to be able to work in between sessions and kind of create a schedule that works for myself.
Also, you have so many individual sports specialists there that if you want to ride with a group of cyclists, you can just go out with cyclists. If you want a group of runners, they're everywhere. You're in.
Oh yeah.
You've got the best place to train. How has been the adaptation to altitude?
Yeah, that's always something. I think we moved here in like basically this middle of January. So now we've been here for like 3 or 4 weeks now.
Oh,
And
just
I'm
three,
just
4 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just starting to feel like, okay, I'm not like the first couple of weeks are so hard. You're not really sleeping. Like I notice it in the pool the most.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
you're like breathing so hard all the time.
You're like, I got to roll over more. I need more air.
Yeah, I'm like
Especially when
every
you're
stroke, I'm like, but yeah, now it's gotten better. I'd say like at the 4 week mark, I'm starting to feel more comfortable. And yeah.
What's nice is having that balance of having work as well as doing this, because it's you're playing a little bit with house money because you have a real career and a real profession, and you can obviously you're serious and want to be the best, but you also have that balance. So it's like you're not only as good as your last workout, right? It makes the life a little more balanced.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I really like that aspect of it. It makes it less of like a chore. And then I see training as like, oh, that's the fun part of my day. This is like an opportunity to connect with people around me. Like, yeah, that's how I've always formed friendships is like through sports and through training and stuff like that. So yeah, that's like the fun part of my day. And it's never like, oh, I have to slog to go out and do this run. It's like, oh, this is fun. Like then I go turn to work and that's the hard part.
The rest of your season after Montreal, what will you be doing?
I got on the Abu Dhabi start list, so I'm really excited about that.
Sweet. Yes.
Yeah, that's not necessarily like a guarantee being ranked how I am. So yeah, I got lucky to get an early season start at the World Series level, and I want to take advantage of that. I don't know if those opportunities will be there later on. So
I mean, with Katie coming back, Katie as far as coming back after her baby, with Gwen coming back, and obviously with everybody else who's still there, with Taylor Nibb and with Taylor Spivey and with
Kirsten, Erica,
yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
everybody.
the U.S. is so deep. Summer, I mean, everybody is there. The U.S. team is so deep. Getting starts at these races is really, really tough. Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah,
And then so after that will you jump in the longer distance stuff, where you focus, it'll all be Super League, Arena Games, World Triathlon?
Yeah, it'll all be World Triathlon events. I don't have, any intention of, well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm focusing on World Triathlon races right now. And yeah, if there are opportunities for Super League, I think that like fits well with my training. But I think going to any kind of long course racing would just be way different than I just can't physically train that much. Like I can't put in the hours needed, I think, to be a successful long course athlete. So yeah, I'm kind of shy in that area.
You've got a real job. You got a real
Yeah.
profession. Yes, I like that. So when you get second, is that your best? That's your best. You feel that's your best race so far in Vina Del Mar?
Yeah, I think that's my best triathlon. It's always with triathlons, there's always like, you never feel, or at least I haven't had a race yet where I'm like, that was perfect. I did everything right. So I look at that race and I'm like, these 10 things I didn't do well still. So I don't know. It's hard for me to say like that is my best result, undeniably, just looking on paper, but I still think there is a lot of room for improvement even at that level.
Other thing that's really become popular, the mixed relay, which is
Yeah.
so much fun to watch, and I'm guessing really, really fun to participate in as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't done any at the World Series level, but like at the last two Conti champs, we had
Yes.
mixed team relays. And so, yeah, those are really fun. It's cool. Like depending on what position you're in, you're either like watching early, just hoping your teammates are staying at the front, or you're like, the first person who's sending it off and you're like, okay, I got to do really well. Otherwise I'm messing the whole thing up for everybody. So yeah, I always liked in college racing the DMR, the distance medley relay.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just like for what can sometimes feel like a really like individual sport, I think it gives it that like team competition aspect.
And we're seeing that across the board in all the different sports. They're adding relays. They're going shorter. When you do have you done some of the sprint triathlons as well? Part of World Cup stuff yet? Or
Just
mainly just Olympic distance so far?
well, no, I guess yeah, I've done a mix of sprint and Olympic distance races. Sorry, I'm getting confused. There's now super sprint. So
Oh, that's
that's what I was
right. I
thinking.
forgot about the super sprints. And which do you prefer, the sprint or the traditional format?
I think right now my strengths are more in like the sprint distance races. Ideally, I'd like to fix that because I think the Olympic distance is what's ultimately more important. But yeah, just with my background and being, not as competitive in the water, like it's just better for me if, the swim is a little shorter and like there's less separation and I have a better chance of like getting onto the bicycle pack.
Yeah. So that's what's so tough about that format is just if you're not there at the end of the swim, it's so hard. You have to work so hard to bridge potentially, and then your strength, the run, sometimes is sabotaged because you had to ride so hard to catch back up.
Yeah, I think I would generally like to think like if I can make a bike pack, I should be strong enough to run. Like I'm never considering like, oh, I'm biking too hard, I'm not going to be able to run. It's always like, am I swimming hard enough to put myself in a position where I know I can ride and get up to the front? So yeah, just trying to stay in the moment and being like, focusing on the swim and then focusing on the bike and then being a little bit more relaxed on the run because I know that's my strength.
So now that you've been doing this swim, bike, run stuff, when you look back at your college career, would you have mixed in some, indoor cycling training, some swimming, things like that? Do you think that might have helped your running? My feeling is that a lot of times when I hear athletes like a Chelsea or something having 4 stress fractures and the different stress fractures that people have in their careers, if they were cross training more, maybe running a little less, maybe you come away more injury free.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on the athlete and what you can get away with. So I think like if you can run at the highest level and like you don't need to cross train and you're not someone who's super injury prone,
Mhm.
I think like there's benefit from getting time off your feet, but I think also like, you know, being able to run 80 miles a week, like you're at such an advantage. Yeah, being at that higher mileage, you like, so yeah, I think it's really individual and it depends on the person. So yeah, when I was in college, like I was pretty high mileage and
What
I don't know,
mileage were you running?
I was running like 80 to 85 miles a week.
Wow. And what
So
did you
yeah,
run in high school? What was the jump?
probably like 40.
So was it pretty gradual? Did you go from 40 in high school to 50, 60, 70, 80 by the end of?
Yeah.
Okay, well then,
Mhm.
yeah, because a lot of times people are running 30 to 40 in high school. Next thing you know, they're running 80 that next year, and then they break down.
Yeah, you have to build into it for sure. And I think that's where just like the environment that you're in, like awareness about like fueling properly, getting like the calories you need and not trying to do the things that like the fifth year seniors are doing as a freshman. There has to be someone who's like responsible for keeping everybody in check. And I think that should be like the coach's responsibility or just like some of the athletic trainers and stuff like that.
Did you find yourself doing more strength training throughout college that you've carried over to now?
Yeah, that was definitely something I picked up in college. I never did any weights in high school. And then, yeah, we had a really good strength program at Michigan. And so, yeah, we have this little like packet with exercises for like 52 weeks out of the year. And I'll just like flip the packet over and I'll be like, okay, now I'm doing this one. All right, now I'm doing this one. And yeah, it brings back a lot of good memories from the weight room at 7 a.m. in college.
Oh my God, 7 a.m. weight room. Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at just following your day, I'm like, oh my God, that's like a week for most people, what you were doing in a day with all the different between school and the weightlifting and running and riding your bike back and forth. Um, so this next year and the following year will be all Olympics all the time. And when I've seen a lot of the athletes improve so much in terms of transitions and stuff through Super League. You see people swimming really, really fast, and you see the people coming out of the water, and then the people leaving first are usually the ones who are Super League athletes. And then you see the rest of them. Have you from doing some of those or doing one of those, was that helpful in terms of just how fast everything moves?
Yeah, it was very eye-opening, kind of coming into the middle of this series and not having done the first three. I think
Yes.
everyone who had done the full series was like on it. They were,
Yeah.
like, I think just practicing it and, doing those repetitions over and over in races, you get very good at it. So there's a lot to
Right.
be said, for that format of racing and just helping athletes improve, via the fact that they're racing so much, back to back to back, you get really good at those transitions and those little skills, which are so, so important.
So important. I think one of the races last year might have been in the arena games. I can't remember, but I think when Lucy Charles jumped into one of those, her swim, bike, and run was faster, but transition was was slower.
Yeah.
It's really, really important. Gina, thanks so much for taking time. A really treat to get to meet you. I love the fact that you work for NASA and you do triathlon. That's a pretty cool combo.
Yeah. Thanks for talking with me. It was great to meet you as well.
Have a great race in Montreal, and hopefully we'll be chatting again soon.
All right. Bye.
All right, Gina Sereno has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob, not quite Kona edition. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. See ya.